We've seen a ton of different uses of candy in different party events. We had a lady this year use rock candy to make a chandelier for a Harry Potter party. We've seen Easter candy dropped out of a helicopter for a mega church in Georgia. We provided the candy that was dropped out of parachutes at the Oscars this past February. Based out here in Los Angeles, we've actually provided candy for music videos, for Katy Perry's video where there's a lot of candy in it, Lollipop. And so we've done a lot. We've provided candy for Madonna and a lot of different celebrity events and functions.
That's our guest today, Chris Pratt, CEO and founder of CandyWarehouse.com. He didn't just start up a candy store in Los Angeles and get all these incredible events. It took a long time. In fact, Chris started the company all the way back in 1998 while having another full-time job, and it's been an almost 20-year grind. How he processed the initial orders on the web while having no candy experience or any kind of retail experience is a testament to getting things done as a business owner. The past 19 years for Chris has been great overall, and we'll hear about how he markets the website, how he hires employees, his strategy for making the website and company unique, and now how he plans to expand the business into a more traditional retail store that's anything but traditional. But you'll also hear about the biggest challenge he faced, taking on partners as a response to all the dot-com investment coming into the markets in 2000, partners that weren't exactly the right fit for the business. Interviewing Chris was a lot of fun, exactly what I expected when talking to somebody who has been in the candy industry for almost 20 years. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to My Digital Story. I'm Jason Gillikin with Triangle Direct Media. At TDM, we do online marketing for all different types of companies, and we hear some amazing stories. On this podcast, we get to share some of those. It's for those of you who want to be inspired by the everyday entrepreneur, the hustlers, the grinders, the one-day millionaires maybe, but more importantly, the people who want to be their own boss. So CandyWarehouse.com, there's over 8,000 products, 35 employees, and at any time they have over 1 million pounds of candy in the warehouse. Today we're with Chris Pratt, the CEO and founder. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, and you look like a smart guy. You've got a master's of electrical engineering at Cornell. So you probably didn't start your career then as the CEO of Candy Warehouse. How did you come to CandyWarehouse.com?
Well, I started out in engineering as my degree portrays, and I started in Chicago and then ended up moving to Silicon Valley and then Los Angeles in the electric car industry, believe it or not. The battery-powered car business kind of was starting to take off in the early 1990s when I got out of college, and one of my first projects was an electric Indy car, and ended up coming to Silicon Valley and going through different startups out here in California. And after a few smaller startup companies that ran out of funding and went out of business, I thought, well, maybe I should start my own business. And so I was continuing. The electric car industry was kind of tough in the 90s. It was a little bit early.
And so these are the first electric cars then that you were working on, and this is all the way starting back in 1992?
Yes. Back then I worked on battery-powered Indy race car, believe it or not, in research and development. I did software and embedded computer design for controlling the motors in the cars. And we would go on we actually went on the Indianapolis 500 racetrack, and we'd go for 2 laps, and then we'd have to change the batteries out. We were using standard 12-volt lead-acid batteries that you would have in your normal car today.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. And so you mentioned the startups that failed. Were these yours, or were you working for some of these companies that failed as startups?
I was just an employee of those companies and had some stock and things like that, and learned quickly that unless the company is actually successful, your stock is not going to be worth anything. So,
Right. So in the late 90s then, how did you decide, okay, I want to start up a candy shop now. I'm gonna start my own business.
well, I happened to be eating lunch across from a candy shop at my engineering job. I was working near Pasadena, California, and just having a burrito one day at lunch, and was hearing all this news in early 1998 about the internet and how it's the next big thing. And I thought I want to learn about the internet, and with my background in engineering, I thought the best way to learn is to experiment and actually do it. And so I just thought I'm going to walk into this candy shop and see if I can get a price list from him and take some pictures and make my own little website. So that's how it all started. Out of my apartment in Pasadena, California. I just didn't even have a digital camera at the time. I would have to just use my Kodak camera and took pictures of gumballs and different things and brought them to get the pictures developed, and then had to scan them and then try and use Photoshop to cut out the background. It was a nightmare trying to do a simple website back then. And a standard was on a black background, and it was very young internet time.
Yeah, and I went back to the Wayback Machine, and you look at December of 1998, you can see this first website where you could buy bulk candy. And so,
Right.
did you have any sort of inventory then in your apartment, or were you selling somebody else's candy and then just taking a cut from that? Like, how did that work?
I would, when I got an order, I would buy candy from the candy shop and bring it home to my apartment and pack it in a box and print a UPS label, and I would tape it on the box, and then I would drive to the UPS hub before my normal job in the morning. And I did that for about 6 months. It was It was a crazy time because I was able, with that small amount of resources, I was able to get a top listing in search engines. Google didn't exist at the time, but there were 10 or 12 different search engines that I was able to get my site listed higher than Hershey's or M&M Mars or billion-dollar companies that really weren't doing much with the internet back then. And so that's how I was able to get the business going from the ground up
Oh,
so
wow.
early.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and so the website that you had, what platform was it on? I mean, this is way before, Magento. This is way before Shopify. Was it on some
Right.
sort of like Yahoo, or did you customize it? How did that work?
Yes, it was based on Yahoo Store as one of the first e-commerce sites available. That was, and
Yeah.
I knew enough about software not to try and build the back end myself. What I had to do on the coding was on the shipping end. I developed kind of a meltable shipping application that told customers whether or not they needed to upgrade to next day air or second day air,
Okay.
as opposed to UPS ground, so that their chocolates didn't melt in the UPS truck going, when it was being delivered.
Oh yeah. Did you figure that out the hard way? Like, were you having?
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing. That's what makes the business challenging. Is it's a perishable product, and it's a food product, and so it's very can be very sensitive. If a UPS driver leaves the package outside your door in the sun in Phoenix in the summer, you just have all kinds of things that don't make common sense, but they happen every day still. So
Yeah.
you just gotta try and handle those as best you can.
When you got your first order, were you shocked that something came through, or did you know that this would happen?
I was quite surprised because it was a huge box of bulk gumballs. It was like this 850 piece case of double bubble gumballs or something. So I was like, "What? This is crazy! I gotta get this thing boxed up." And it was kind of a big box, and I was on a second floor apartment. I had to haul it up to my apartment, and and I double boxed it so nothing was damaged during the shipping process. So it was just a kind of a crazy experience. And then dropping it off to the UPS hub, I didn't have a UPS account or anything. I just had to pay right there with my credit card for that first shipment with UPS. So
Wow.
yeah, it was surprising.
Oh my gosh. And so at this time, you've still got a full-time job?
Yes. So I would just do all the work at night. I would had my engineering job from 8 to 6 during the day, and then at night I would have dinner and then work on the website until 1 or 2 a.m. to get it going.
That is a grind, and that's how you got to do it,
Yeah.
though.
Yep.
So, okay, how long did it take then where you started to realize, you know what, this could actually work? This is something I could start to do full time.
It was around Christmas. I started to get a lot more orders, and I was having to. I was not able to ship I'm not able to bring all the candy home. I had to because I couldn't fit it in my car. So I was starting to ask the owner of the candy shop if I could use his location as a UPS pickup spot. And then I started boxing candy up during my lunch. And so I ended up not being able to eat lunch. So that was like even more stressful. So it was, I started in July of 1998, and by December, I kind of figured this could be a real business. So yeah, that's when I first knew. And then by April of the following year, 1999, that's when I quit my job. I knew I needed to do this full time if it was actually gonna be working, a successful business.
So did the owner of the candy shop ever think, well, wait a minute here, maybe I should start up a website? And because obviously this guy is starting to make some money from this.
Yeah, he was starting to see it take off, and we actually had some competitors that came along during that time that had a lot of venture capital. And I don't know if you remember that time, the mid 90s and late 90s.
Oh, sure.
There were tons of venture capital going into e-commerce startups, and there was one actually in Hollywood. It was based out of Hollywood, California, that was called eCandy.com, and they had about $20 million in venture capital. And so I got really nervous, and in the end of that year of 99, I ended up partnering with the owner of that candy shop and another sales guy. I sold 2/3 of the business to those two guys, and they were both a little bit older and didn't really understand traditional marketing and didn't know how to type. They were like, one guy was a true we salesman. The other guy was a sales executive from a Fortune 50 company who had retired. We partnered up, and we issued shares. We became a C corporation, and we were going to go public and become .com billionaires and try and raise funds and compete with eCandy. Around in I think the last week of December 1999, we incorporated, and I partnered with them, and then within 3 months, the story, in March, April of 2000, the whole .com boom crashed, and then I was kind of stuck in this partnership with people that didn't really understand technology.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like being in a bad marriage after that. So.
Yeah. I remember, and people were scared to buy anything online, and it was a really crazy time. So what happened to eCandy?
So what happened to eCandy is they spent a lot of money in advertising over the next year, from probably July of 99 through July of 2000, and they filed for bankruptcy in late 2000 or 2001, around there. I think late 2000, and offered to have our company buy their assets for pennies on the dollar. So that was actually a success story for us. We were able to survive by not being overfunded and having investors kind of shut you down. So
Wow.
we were able to beat them out in the long run.
Yeah, I mean that's part luck. That's a lot of luck there that you didn't
Yeah.
quite get to that point where you took that funding and you just
Right.
had the couple of partners. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Okay. So you're just kind of plugging along then with these two partners, and are they or were they in the early 2000s still involved with the business?
Yeah. So one of the candy guy kind of exited and became a silent player, and then the other sales guy kind of helped manage the business with me. But it wasn't a great partnership. Around 2007, April 2007, I was able to buy out both of the partners and get control of the company again. And then we started to do a lot better as a company. We started growing, kind of took off. 2008 was a great year for us after that. During that the whole financial crisis, we actually had a great year.
So why were you able to have a great year when other companies were struggling?
Well, I think people were kind of depressed and gorging on candy a little bit, maybe, but also it was just a matter of being able to implement some of my ideas. We started marketing candy by color and focusing on parties and events and things like that, like real reasons people were looking to buy candy online.
Sure.
As opposed to just buying commodities that you could find at other stores. We focused on unique niches of candy and seasonal candies that you weren't able to buy online very easily. And so I just started to implement ideas that I had that I wasn't able to execute when I was partnered with these other guys.
Because you only owned about a third of the company, and yeah, okay.
Right. I didn't want to take any risks when they were getting 2/3 of the benefit.
Yeah, yeah. And so was that holding you back then, or were those the ideas, like the colors and the parties, or were there other things like did you want to do some forms of marketing that they didn't want to do or they were scared of? What are some other things that were holding you back at the time?
Yeah, the overall concept of marketing on the internet was not familiar to the sales person that I was partnered with. He was kind of like, have you ever seen the TV show called Mad Men?
Oh yeah.
From the 1960s. So that's kind of when he came into sales and marketing, and his idea of sales was taking people out for martini lunches and Dodger games and things like that. When we have 100,000 customers spread out all over the country, that kind of sales tactic doesn't work. So yeah, so I was able to market correctly once I was able to buy him out and just do email marketing and focus on content and photography and writing and things like that, which is not a normal sales strategy for somebody selling national accounts and things like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine how lost Don Draper would be right now in marketing in general, but especially in online marketing.
Right. Yeah, it's a different animal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so back in the early days, and you mentioned that you were ranked ahead of Hershey's. Is that how you marketed the site, just from being ranked in the free search results?
Yeah, we've focused a lot of energy on having great content about candy and doing useful photography. A lot of our competitors, like Amazon and smaller companies like Candy.com, they don't show the inside of the bags. Like a lot of Amazon photographs will just have a manufacturer image of like Jolly Rancher lollipops. They'll have a picture of the box, but not the actual opened lollipops unwrapped. And so we take the time to unwrap everything and have a full-time photographer, and we've had full-time writers. So we just kind of focus on describing the candy and letting you know exactly what's inside. I think that is content that people really need and enjoy, and it makes the site more fun to shop as opposed to just being an industrial style catalog with
Gotcha.
300 million products. We try and focus on the funness of the candy and have great photographs of candy buffets and use my kids for models with everything. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And so you mentioned Amazon. What's your relationship right now with Amazon?
We've worked with them quite a while. We were one of the first candy sellers on there back in 2001, but I learned through that process that they have a really smart strategy of seeing what sells well through third parties, and then they go and buy it direct, and cut you out. So I from about 2001 to 2004, we sold on Amazon, and then I stopped. And then again, this year I started again selling on Amazon, just mostly our unique products. Yum Junkie is a brand that we created, a private label brand for Candy Warehouse, and so we're created a Yum Junkie brand page on Amazon, and now we're kind of advertising using Amazon as a more of a platform, which it is now. I mean, 70% of their business is third party, so we're just another third party on there. So we're not really competing with Amazon on commodity candy products. We're trying to offer unique things and just using them kind of like a Google now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, I kind of got ahead of myself with Amazon. Let's go back to the early 2000s or even late 90s. When did you've got the partners, but when did you start hiring?
Oh, well, I hired my first employee in July of '99.
Okay.
So about a year after I started the business. Yeah, so that first year I kind of did everything.
And so, when did you hire enough people where you started to feel like a boss rather than a worker?
I guess when I finally bought out my partners in 2007 is when I felt like it was like my company again, and I just felt closer to all the employees at that point,
Yeah.
and felt more like a family business at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can make all the marketing decisions and you can make all the hiring decisions. Yeah. That had to be
Yeah,
much more comfortable for you there. Um,
yeah, because prior to my buying them out, my partners did most of the hiring. I was mostly the technical guy, and so some of the hiring decisions I didn't really agree with sometimes, and so it didn't feel like totally my company until I was able to buy them out again.
Gotcha. Okay. What are you guys doing for marketing? Are you doing AdWords? You mentioned Amazon that you're doing. You mentioned email campaigns. Are you doing
Hmm.
social ads? What are the best forms of marketing for you?
Well, we've done a lot of content marketing, as you know, SEO marketing, and then we've
Mhm.
done social media marketing a little bit. We we've created Facebook pages and also category pages. So we created a Facebook page called ChristmasCandy.com and HalloweenCandy.com and EasterCandy.com and Valentine'sDayCandy.com.
Oh, cool.
And so we add we're just kind of starting that out this year to see if that's useful for customers, but we just kind of post product images on those pages regarding the seasons. And then we've also created Instagram accounts for Candy Warehouse, and we have a Twitter account. We've done a lot with YouTube over the years. Like you've seen, we posted videos back when it was a lot smaller, back in 2007,
Sure.
2008. Yeah, we've done quite a bit of different social media marketing, a little Twitter, email marketing. We've changed vendors a few times, tried to build that up. We capture emails on our site whenever we can. We double opt in to make sure people want to get the emails, and we decent open rate, about 10% open rate of our emails, and a very, very niche group of people who like candy. So it's a great email, and we're actually working with manufacturers now to promote their brands.
Oh, okay.
We did it an email for Airheads. Have you heard of Airheads, the type of taffy?
Yeah, absolutely.
That type of taffy candy. And then we're working with Charms and Tootsie now and doing an email in a couple of weeks promoting their top products. So Blow Pops and Sugar Daddy and Andy's Mints and things like that.
Wow. And so is this a partnership, or did they hire you to do this stuff?
They're providing us money to do a promotional email for them.
Nice.
And sending people to our site to actually buy the products.
Okay.
So it's kind of like selling ad space on our site, but through email.
Gotcha. So you mentioned you've got this passionate group of people that are candy lovers. Who are your clients then? Like, who are your customers? Are they individuals like me? Are they stores? Are they groups? I mean, who are you selling mostly to?
We sell mostly to both groups. We sell to people who are having events, usually big life-changing events like a wedding or a baby shower or a bar mitzvah or quinceañera, things like that. And then we sell to businesses who are promoting at trade shows or different events like hiring events, or we sell to churches who are doing Easter candy hunts, and sell to zoos at Halloween who are having events. So we sell to
everybody.
We sell to everybody, but mostly people who are not reselling. So it's people who are giving away candy or using it for some purpose, for an event or things like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you mentioned weddings. Candy buffets have grown so much, at least from my perspective, over the past 10 years or so. It didn't seem like it was a thing, and then all of a sudden it's an option. You don't have to have a cake. You can do a candy buffet, or there's other options too. Have you seen that as well, where that's just grown over the years?
Yeah, that's been a great thing for our business because we offer unique candies for those buffets, and we've seen a ton of different uses of candy in different party events. We had a lady this year use rock candy to make a chandelier for a Harry Potter themed party. We've seen Easter candy dropped out of a helicopter for a mega church in Georgia. We provided the candy that was dropped out of parachutes at the Oscars this past February.
Oh, no kidding.
Did you see the Oscars this year?
The one with Jimmy Kimmel, right?
Yeah, I think it was hosted by him. Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so there, yeah, because the story is at the Oscars, the people have to sit in their seats for I think it's for 3 or 4 hours, and they're starving at the end of it. So this year they parachuted candy down to them from the ceiling down to all the celebrities. So anyway, we've seen candy used in a lot of different ways, and we've provided it in different ways. With our base out here in Los Angeles, we've actually provided candy for music videos, for Katy Perry's video where she there's a lot of candy in it, lollipop. And so we've provided candy for Madonna and a lot of different celebrity events and functions.
Oh, wow. I mean, yes, you're in Los Angeles or in that area, but like, how have you been able to forge these relationships? Like, how did you get that deal with the Academy, with the Oscars?
Oh, I think it's just people that are searching candy using the internet. We have everything in stock and can deliver it immediately, as opposed to some other people who may not have the selection or the inventory immediately. So we're able to. A lot of Hollywood productions need things last minute, and so that's why we're able to help them a lot.
Okay, so you didn't contact them with this idea; they came to you because they saw you online.
Right.
Wow. that works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that way they're actually paying you instead of you doing it for promotion.
Hmm.
Wow. So you've had a lot of success, especially since you were able to buy back the business. You've had a lot of success over the past 10 years, and then really over the past 20 years, you've been through so much. What's next for Candy Warehouse? Like, where do you see the company in 5 years and 10 years?
Well, we're seeing this year as we opened up our warehouse to the public and made it kind of a cool destination retail store. It's a warehouse, but if you walk into our lobby, we've got giant candy all on the walls, and we've got a steampunk Willy Wonka desk with a giant purple chair, and we've got a lollipop that's 8 feet tall, and so and we've got 6,000 candies on for sale. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
a very unique retail store, and it seems to be doing okay. When people come in, they're just really impressed, even though it's kind of hard to find. We're kind of in an industrial park, and so there's not a lot of. It's not like we're at the mall or something where people are walking around. So I guess that's a possibility. Is kind of doing, like how Amazon bought Whole Foods. We're looking at possibly doing retail locations that could be very unique and make it worthwhile for people to drive, and so offer things where they can buy online and pick up there at the store, but also shop at the store and see the candy in person and get samples and things like that, because it's food, and people generally want to taste samples before they buy, which is not really possible online. So I see that as a possible growth opportunity, at least in the LA area, like opening a few candy warehouses around. Also, we're looking at expanding into other categories that we have the domain properties for. So we own nutwarehouse.com and pretzelwarehouse.com, popcornwarehouse.com, candyapplewarehouse.com. So
Wow.
we have a lot of different snack categories that we own the domains for, and we just need to build them out at some point.
Yeah, but you've been so busy with Candy Warehouse, it's not that easy to find the time to do all that. Um,
Right.
that is really cool about that flagship store then. So when did that open?
That just opened in September of this year. So we're just kind of learning how to do normal retail. So it's kind of fun. People really enjoy seeing all the candy in one place. It's fun
Yeah,
for
so that
people to
has to be
shop.
well, that has to be pretty unique then. Like I can't think of anything where I would see anything that was that fun as far as a candy place. Like I've seen stuff in the malls where you just go and grab some candy and put it in a bag. But I
Hmm.
can't think of anything where it would be quite that type of experience.
Right. It's a unique setup because we have things displayed by color. So we have an entire wall of all pink candy, which is pretty unusual. I mean, you might see a few items like at Party City or or maybe at a mall store, but not hundreds of products of a single color. So it's a very unique shopping experience we have right now.
And so do you think this works in big cities and would you franchise it? Like do you have a plan right now or is it just focus on this one store for now?
Right now, we're going to see how this one store does and try and figure out, is there enough demand for it to expand it into into other areas of LA or the other areas of the country even. So we were thinking about trying to open up something in Charlotte out of
Mhm.
our warehouse there, Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, we're not sure if there's enough population there or enough demand, because you need a lot of. It's a very small niche, so you need a lot of people to make the business worthwhile for them to be able to drive to an industrial park to shop. So
Right.
it's not your normal shopping destinations.
Las Vegas would be an ideal spot too. I can think of they've got the M&M's thing right on the main strip there.
Right.
It seems like that would be a destination where people would want to walk into something and be like, oh, this is neat. This is quite the experience too. But
Right. Yeah, that seems like a great opportunity. There's a ton of candy stores there, and if we could come up with a unique option, that would be great, I think.
yeah.
Work great in Vegas.
Well, cool. Well, this has been awesome. This is a cool story. What am I missing about the story of Candy Warehouse, if anything?
Oh, just that it sounds all fun, but it's a lot of work and it can be stressful sometimes too. So the whole thing of buying out partners is very stressful, and so it's been a long road of ups and downs, and so a lot of big competitors in our space now. So we're struggling this year to compete with very big companies. So we're just having to get more creative and figure out what we're going to do long term.
Sure.
That's the challenging part of owning a business, I guess.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone thinking about starting up an e-commerce company?
I would recommend that you choose a product niche that you really enjoy and you can have a unique perspective on to add valuable content for people that would be interested in it, and use social media nowadays to kind of bring people into your niche and show what you have that is that they can't find anywhere else. And so once you start it, you'll see opportunities like I did in the candy space. I was able to figure out that candy by color is a huge opportunity and is basically double the size of our business. But I never would have known that if I wasn't selling candy at the time of the candy buffet trend. So
Sure. Yeah.
you just kind of got to try things and keep your eyes open for opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it's a grind. You've got to have that passion for it. You've got to be willing to put in the work, and you've got to find a reason for people to come to your site.
Yep.
Well, great. Chris, I really appreciate your time today. This has been a really cool story. I kind of thought it would be, given that you sell candy, but
Yeah.
there's the ups and downs of it, which was, it's something that people need to hear, and that it's not all easy. You didn't just start a site and then 20 years later it's something amazing. You had to work really hard for it.
Right. Yep. It's a lot of time and work. You got to know on the creative side, also the technical side, and marketing and accounting. So it's just a lot of things you have to learn over the years, and I think I've learned a ton over these past 20 years. It's been a great experience.
Well, cool. Well, Chris, this will make for a great episode. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
So that was Chris Pratt from CandyWarehouse.com. That was a lot of fun. We have some great episodes lined up in the next few weeks, so be sure to subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Jason Gillikin with Triangle Direct Media, and you've been listening to My Digital Story.